On the morning of April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin woke up at 5:30 in the morning. His breakfast? Space food from tubes. He even joked about it, saying it was only fit for a man in orbit. Meanwhile, the Vostok rocket was sitting on the launch pad, ready to catapult him into outer space.
I lost track of that night as it gradually blended with dawn. Normally I would have woken up in the morning and headed for the launch site. But that night I didn't sleep, needless to say. At any rate, many, myself included, were far more agitated than Yuri Gagarin.
After final medical checkups, Gagarin was helped into his spacesuit. A bus transported him and his backup to the rocket.
This film footage shows Gagarin, chairman of a state commission, Rudnev, and me walking from the bus towards the spacecraft's chief designer, Sergei Korolyov, and other members of the commission seated around a table. Korolyov hugs Gagarin and wishes him a good journey. I take Gagarin by the hand and take him to a ladder leading to the lift. Now about 15 steps separate him from
1961, just a few minutes past 9 in the morning. Yuri Gagarin is already in the cabin of the Vostok rocket. Final preparations and checks are being made. All that remains is to shut the hatch.
It is a nerve-wracking operation. All associations apart, it's an unpleasant moment because of the consequences. If the hatch is locked, as it should be, the cabin is hermetically sealed and the flight is normal. If not, the cosmonaut's life might be in danger.
With the hatch locked down and engineers ready to leave the launch site, the chief designer called from mission control. He said sensors had indicated the cabin was not reliably sealed. The hatch had to be checked immediately.
How we felt isn't hard to imagine. But the technicians knew their job well. They unscrewed the nuts and removed the hatch in no time. I inspected the connection, which signals whether or not the hatch is properly sealed. Everything there was okay.
April 12, 1961, 9:07 a.m. The first manned Vostok rocket takes off from the launch pad. Yuri Gagarin radios back a phrase that within a few hours would be known around the world as his signature line. The first flight lasted 108 minutes. The spacecraft began to descend after orbiting the Earth. That was one of the most complicated phases of the mission. The cosmonaut was to eject from the descent module several kilometers above ground.
One of the special features was the seat. The mechanism was powerful enough to eject one cosmonaut wearing a spacesuit. At a certain altitude, the entry hatch was jettisoned. That made it possible for the cosmonaut to eject from the spacecraft.
At that time there was no forest here. There were only seedlings in this field. They have since grown into tall trees.
On the morning of April 12, 1961, Rita Kurskanova was a 6-year-old girl out planting potatoes with her grandmother. They noticed two spots in the sky. They grew larger and larger until she saw an odd-looking creature wearing bright orange overalls.
My grandmother kept asking him questions where he was from. I remember he said he was from a ship. We were puzzled, there was no water anywhere near the place. But then he said, "I'm from a spaceship."
Rita and her grandmother were the first humans to see Gagarin after his return from outer space. Half an hour later, a search party found the landing site in the Saratov region. Only a handful of people knew Gagarin when he woke up on the morning of April 12th. When he went to bed the same day, he had acquired global fame.